WordPress Drupal website for the city. It'll be fine. Little over 3 years, and we launched it yesterday. So it's been a really interesting project. This is my first government job. I've always worked in very forward places. I used to run a media lab, like all these kind of things. So I'm used to things moving very quickly. So I have learned a lot from this process, which has been pretty interesting, actually. It's been great. So now let me just down button.
The slide, could you push left?
I don't think I'm at the full.
Yeah.
Mr. AD.
Yeah, I'm not trying to be AD. How do Max work?
There we go. All right. So I'm going to go through a little bit of the background where we came from on this. So when I started out, this is what the Culture Division website looked like. So everything was very, very tiny. There weren't very many pictures. But then I kept talking to people about what they were doing, and they kept telling me about all these amazing projects they were putting on. We have a full theater. We have Celebration Square, which is an event space that has huge crowds. So for an example, Celebration Square opened about 4 years ago on Canada Day in Canada, biggest Canada Days, Ottawa, Mississauga. We had De La Soul come last year, 30,000 people. Nobody would know. Like, there's no way to share this information. So I did kind of an interim one, which was a little better. It had some pictures at least, and kind of actually told people a little bit more about what was going on. But this isn't all that useful when half of our job is to really bring people in. So the Culture Division in Mississauga is made up of a few different departments. So we have the departments that are all about like events and activities, museums. We have a theater, these event spaces, and then we have the really functional places like I need a film permit, I need a heritage permit, just kind of get in and get out. So that's kind of the general idea of where our division comes from. So we went through this. I was trying to think of so what are the goals for this project? So they were really to have something user-focused because, as you can see from the other one, it was actually more of a blog. I was kept joking with people that it was like having all the culture stuff in the basement, in the back room, in a locked thing through a hallway, and that's how you have to go to find out what was going on. Like, we had really dedicated people that would come and find out what was happening. Something contemporary. We were doing contemporary work, and our site looked so old-fashioned that nobody would know that. Connected with all the social media, all the different hubs. We really needed it to fit in with all the other programs that we had going on. Something efficient. So the system we worked on, I had never in my life worked on a system like this. To change a photograph or to change a date on something could take like half an hour because the system was so complicated and onerous. And it was just shocking to me that I was initially told when I got there that efficiency wasn't something I could include in my reason for wanting to do a different kind of site because I think they just didn't want to hear it at the time. It's changed since then a lot, but at the time they just had blinders on because our system was so terrible. So the strategic alignment I had to make it happen was through Activate Culture, which is a digital strategy that I've been working on at the Culture Division. So it included some large-scale city projects about getting people engaged. For example, I worked with an artist called Rob King, and we did a project where we used Twitter and mapped the emotions of the city to kind of connect people. So it's still up to something that we did. I work with planning a lot and try and have creative engagement to get them involved. So and the website's all part of this strategy. The Culture Master Plan. And then we actually have a current web strategy. So I want to say, as I'm saying these old things about the city of Mississauga, we're actually in the midst of this really amazing process. So in the next 2 years, we're going to have completely destroy our old website and have a really beautiful new one. So we're very excited about that. So this project fits in with that as well. So the process that we did to have this site was that I engaged all of the staff, all of the other stakeholders. I had facilitated public feedback sessions. So I had that a few times and then user testing. And this was very new for the city. For me, it was the way that I'd always done things. I was so used to prototyping, getting people's involvement, getting their engagement. But they were really not used to this. But it really changed the way that the site ended up being, the language we used, and the kind of sections that we had on the website. So some of the features we have are, so the marketing transactional, those are the ones where, you just want your film permit. You don't need to see a bunch of pictures, you don't care what's been here, you just want to get in and get out. Same with heritage, same with grants. So we have a marketing transactional side. Oh, and then the marketing side was really around this event-based thing, getting people into our shows, getting into our activities, selling our classes. It's accessible, which is great. It's responsive. Our current website at the City of Mississauga is not responsive, which is still stunning to me in this day and age. So you actually can't really see it on a phone or on a tablet. So this one now is, which is great. Connected again. So the off portal. So one of the things I had to do with this site, and you'll notice it as we go through it, is that the sizes will change. Because I actually had to keep half of the site on our old system and half of it on the new one. And so that was to do with like some conditions we had with Bell, because they're our main source. So we had to kind of figure out how to negotiate the space between our offsite, which is Drupal, and then our on portal stuff. So we kind of split it. So all our transactional stuff is on the portal side, because it doesn't do very much and it's very clunky. And then all our stuff that we needed really quick, fast updates and kind of flashy and clear, that's all on the Drupal side. All right, so let's have a look at the site. Does anyone have any questions before I open the site? So this is what it currently looks like. So these are our main sections. So Celebration Square, Meadowvale Theatre, and our museums are where people mostly come to. We have these beautiful menu systems which we're very excited about, and a really nice search function. Our calendar we were very excited about as well. It was always a big struggle for us because we have so many events going on, just finding a way to be able to have people easily go through everything, so you can do it by venue, by age group, by event type. And it's all really fun. So these are the ones that are on our Drupal side. So again, these are the events that, like, Celebration Square has so many activities going on all the time. So our staff can go in now, and they're not scared of it. That was the other thing I noticed when I first got there. Everybody that had to change anything on the web, it was always on their to-do list last. And then the next day it would still be on their to-do list last, and the next day last. So it never got done. But this system is super easy for us to update really quickly, which has been really great for our staff. And then we've got all the social media connected into it. And then we have some pages that were really from our user testing. So one of the things that we had was the artists in the community, they didn't understand, so this is on Portal, that's why I was sitting at the how the culture division actually connected to them, what we did for them, and why we were there. So we actually made this page to sort of tell them, these are some of the resources. They're everywhere else on the site, but we wanted to kind of pull it out so that they could see some of the ways that we support them that are more direct. I think there's any other features. So that's generally the site. We've got the social media embedded on it. Mostly though, most people will always just be coming back to the calendar because that's the main thing that they come for. We're such an event space. Yeah, so that's the site. Do you have any questions?
What's traffic like?
Well, as of yesterday, it's been pretty steady. I think they said we had about 1,000 people yesterday, which is amazing. Yeah.
I'm curious about what are the processes that you went through, such as internal stakeholder alignment, such as feedback, which you mentioned they're not really used to.
Yeah.
What were some obstacles in engaging with internal stakeholders and users of this project?
For sure. I was very lucky. I was hired by someone at the city who really wanted to kind of let me go, and he pushed me and supported me all the way along the way. And he was at a director level, so he really helped. It was a lot more struggle than I thought it was going to be. I was quite surprised at that. Most of the last 3 years, building this didn't actually take that long, but most of it was just like a lot of negotiation, a lot of just like constantly bringing in people, having lots of discussions, a few arguments in between. It was really just kind of sticking with it and trying to answer everybody's So I tried to really just be as patient as I could, and like any concerns that came up, just kind of like constantly going back and not letting it go, So, and it kind of hit a point where they realized there was just one way they couldn't say no. Yeah. And now their new strategy is like I've been working with the people that are running our overall city, and it's really aligning really well. So I think that once they kind of realized that this could help them push their project forward, it went a lot simpler.
This is one of the nicest looking Canadian government websites I've ever seen. Congratulations. What were there some precedents you were looking at? What were the sort of inspirations for the design of the site, and what did you look to for inspiration? Was either government or not?
So I looked at two. I mean, so the government side really fit more within that sort of transactional side. So something like a phone and grant one. So for this side, I was looking at, and it's not exactly that, but kind of the model of like gov.uk, like something like really simple. How can I make this as simple as possible to get as much information as they need and nothing else? And then the other side, I actually decided to not look at any government sites because, when we're having people like July.com, our competition is not really like, another city. It's really other event spaces. And when we have things in, our theaters and stuff, they're really, there are people that the landscape is more of that. So I was looking at other art sites, other theater sites, other design sites for the other side of
it. So I really like this. I see a lot of parallel between like what you did here and kind of like what some of the projects that this community does, and in terms of like trying to create new tools or like platforms that where a lot of different stakeholders are affected. I guess going through this whole process, I know specifically working in government, but do you have any kind of advice in terms of designing tools that many different stakeholders would be involved with or be using, and how to get that kind of feedback or buy-in and make the process go smoother?
It's a great question, and I'm sort of still examining all of that now. I mean, I guess part of it was just, I think once people realized how like open I was, because I had somebody when I first moved into government, and the advice they gave me was they said, when you're working in the private sector, everything is held close to your heart. And that's where you get your power from, but your power in government is by telling as many people as possible about everything. And so I think by trying to really make people feel as they were part of it, it helped. And like just trying to include everyone, which got really like frustrating at times, because then everyone feels like they have a stake in it, which is great. And then finding an advocate, that helped a lot. And then really aligning with other projects and strategies that were going on. Because as soon as I said, well, I'm doing this because this level, and this level all have strategies that fit with this, it made it very hard for them to argue with it. I think just getting those kind of things into place beforehand really helped a lot. And because this was based on a strategy I did when I first got there, I could always go back to that strategy and say, you guys approved this, so this is part of it. That helped as well.
So you said that it took 3 years to get to this point.
Yeah.
Did you guys release data of this at any time with the help? I'm the president of Civic.
Okay.
I've seen that with the old website. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely much better. It's interesting if you hit so many obstacles. I wonder if you could have somehow convinced somebody if I could run a 10% audience test. I know A/B testing is such a clunky system to do. Before must have been possible, but that's something that, in hindsight, might have been helpful.
Well, we did do user testing in the fall, and
Well, I'm suggesting more like if you could like divert 10% of the traffic at some point, if they would allow you to do that, to show the games and then push through the resistance.
it's funny because the resistance was wasn't really. This is going to sound terrible, but I think it happened in the news everywhere, so I'll say it. But like, I think it was more internal than it was external. Like, I think there was sort of a sense that we all knew that once this is in the world, people would like using it. It would seem like more internal resistance, and they're just like even doing the sort of user testing that I did. That was like a real push for them. Like it was, they were really nervous about it, and they didn't realize how easy and light and cheap it would be. So I mean, with our new site, we're at like with the new city site that we're doing, they're actually doing it. So they'll be doing that on that scale. For the scale, it's more just kind of just testing the waters a bit and making sure that it's public record. So, but they do get very nervous, which I'm not used to as well.
I'm curious about what are some of the ways misgivings or apprehensions that some of the internal stakeholders have about the strategy?
I think one of the ones that I think is probably quite fair is that it's quite different than the rest of the site, so there might be a feeling that there's not a cohesiveness. So there was that. There's just a lot of change. Change is very hard for people. There was a lot of, because I took part of it off the other site, that was probably the biggest fight, is being able to pull things off. Our whole system's called ATG, being able to pull it off there. There was a lot of nervousness around if we did that, then everyone would do that. And just a little bit of, like with our site, there's not a ton of security concerns. I mean, our security teams work on it and it's safe, but we're not building any money, we're not building any personal information. So those are some of the concerns that we kind of worked through very quickly, and then most of it was really around us just kind of doing something that was quite different. And then not being able to support it too. So we're actually doing training for our staff so that they can
Does that mean you're hiring Drupal devs?
we may eventually. Although we actually have our new site workflow, and this will all be probably transported over to us.
So you said your new site was what?
Pardon me?
You said your new site
On Drupal.
was also on Drupal.
This is, yeah, it's on Drupal and ATG. Oh, sorry, the new site is Oracle.
Oracle?
Great. So I'm going to throw out a potential scenario for you and see how the site might answer that.
Sure.
You've got park space that maybe you've been underused, and community groups that maybe look for spaces to do things like do sports.
Yeah.
Does your site, or is it something you thought of help connect the dots between wants and needs?
No, we haven't got there yet. There's sort of, I mean, one of the big discussions, particularly with the culture division that we've been trying to figure out in terms of wants and needs that way, is around, there's no media really in Mississauga, and so people kind of want us to be the defining culture spot where people come like for the calendar for all the events and stuff. And that's something that's been a real struggle that we're trying to really figure out how to play that role, and if we have the staff for it, right, to be able to constantly update it and do it. I think that's sort of a next stage, is making those connections in that particular way. Because that was one of the nervous things as well too, is around. So right now, part of the reason we have social media embedded in it is because then we can have people interacting with it. Where if it's on our main site, there was a lot of nervousness around not having it always moderated all the time. So we're just trying to figure that stage out.
I still talking about how beautiful this site is. Did you say that you worked with the local design firm to do the design for it? And were there any like challenges or awesome things in that relationship?
For sure, yeah. So we worked with two outside groups. So we worked with a design team called Miniature Massive, and then a development team called JCR9. They were both really great. Working with our internal creative team developed a new look for all of culture. The designers then took that. We were pretty happy right off the bat. I mean, some of the things they wanted to do, they got a little obsessed with Hazel for a while, and I had to be like, no, Hazel, like, I don't know if you guys know, Hazel was our mayor for 40 years, and she's like a total character. She's a tiny little tough lady, and she just retired, so they got kind of excited about her. So there was a little bit of that, then sort of pulling in different directions that way. But I think once we kind of we settled on the style fairly early on, Then that went well. And then the development team we've been working with, they've worked a lot with government. They have really like a lot of experience with accessibility. They were great. They helped us because our IT team has been working with old systems. It was nice to work with an outside team to really be able to make it very modern. So that was